Hi, welcome to Delicious and Light. This is Dina D'Ambrosi, and today we're going to be making bacon wrapped meatloaf, which I'm going to make delicious and light. And this is a recipe I've been doing for the last couple of years for my family, and they love it. It's one of their favorite recipes. So the first thing you want to do is just preheat your oven to 375, which I've already done. And you want to get 2 pounds of 93% lean ground beef or sirloin ground beef. It's just as lean. And so this is where you're really going to make it lighter and with less fat and less calories. So just take your beef. This is a super easy recipe. It takes a lot of ingredients, but it's really easy. All you want to do is take your 2 pounds of ground beef, just put it in a bowl. If you've ever made meatloaf before, this is going to seem super familiar to you. It's just a matter of the ingredients that you put in your meatloaf to make it taste different. So just put your 2 pounds of ground beef in here. And if you're in a rush during the week, this is a great weeknight recipe because you can make this meatloaf in advance, put it in what you're going to bake it in, wrap it up, put it in the fridge, and then just bake it the next night. It's great. So 1/4 cup of brown sugar goes in here, 1/2 cup of green onions or scallions chopped, and then we get 2 tablespoons of ketchup, and you can use the kind of ketchup that you like. I would personally at home use the no sugar added ketchup so that it cuts down on the amount of sugar, but in regards to fat there is no difference, and calories, if it's difference, it's minimal. But use what you like with that. So that's 2 tablespoons of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of pepper sauce. This has a little zing to it, this meatloaf does. If you're someone who doesn't like it real hot, then by all means use 1 tablespoon, or you can even cut it down to a couple teaspoons if you like. And the next thing you want to do is you want to put in 6 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce is one of those ingredients where it really adds a lot of flavor to your dish, but it's something that you don't want to use well, I don't use it by itself because it's a little too harsh. Not hot, but just a lot of flavor. 6 there. And then you want to use 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. You get another measuring spoon. So you're going to put in 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. That also adds a lot of flavor to it. 1/2 cup of egg substitute. That helps you save on calories and fat as well. 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. I use unseasoned. About a teaspoon of salt. About 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And then what we're going to do to season it up a little bit more. So the recipe you'll see on the internet at deliciouslight.com says 1 large jalapeno cut up. So in our garden, we didn't have any large jalapenos, so I'm using 2 small. And whenever I use jalapenos, I always put on gloves. I wear contact lenses, so that's very important for me. I would say it's a great idea for anybody, even if you don't wear contact lenses. But hey, if you like living dangerously, go for it. You don't have to put the gloves on. So what I do to de-seed it is I cut it in half. I take the top off, slice it down the middle, and then I just run my thumb through the seeds and scrape out the seeds just like that. Just put it right in the garbage there, and just do that for all of these four halves. So these 2 little ones count for 1 big one. Hey, and if you're feeling really risky and you love the heat, we happen to have habaneros this year that we that we grew in the garden. So listen, if you love the heat, by all means, de-seed this and maybe put 1/2 of a habanero in there, maybe a whole if you really like the heat. But we're going to keep it to jalapenos. So I just like to mince them real fine. So what I do is just make real thin slices and chop them up from there, and I'm going to put them right in the bowl. And the nice thing about this recipe, it's not one of those recipes where you have to worry about every step. Pretty much all the ingredients, except for the bacon, all go in the meatloaf, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with the bacon. So once we've got nice thin slices there, we're just going to mince them up real small. Now I like to mince them small so that every bite you really get a little taste of a jalapeno, and you don't feel like, you know, some bites have a lot of jalapeno in them and some have none. So this really helps do that by cutting them real small into tiny pieces. Oh, oven's ready. All right, you missed a little guy right there. Let's get him in. So from there, let's pop that in. And the last thing we're going to put in the meatloaf are 2 cloves garlic. And you want to mince them in, same reason, to evenly distribute the flavor. And you don't have to remember all of these ingredients. I will have this recipe on deliciouslight.com, so you can go to it and get all the exact measurements there. All right, so that's it. Once we do that, I like to use my hands in this. Some people don't like putting their hands in the food, but I put on a glove and just go for it. I feel like this will really mix it in nicely. So you just want to stir this around until it's really mixed in and you feel like the breadcrumbs and all the spices are all in there. What makes this meatloaf, I think, so tasty is the subtlety of the brown sugar. It's something that I've experimented with a little molasses, and I felt like the brown sugar really just gives it that, it's got a spicy, sweet flavor to it. It's real nice. All right. And then what I'm going to do is just mold it as much as I can in the bowl and just kind of set it aside. But I've got it pretty packed in there and molded. Oop, a little slippery. So I'll take my gloves off at this point and move on to step 2. So not only is this a super tasty, delicious meatloaf, but it also comes out pretty. And I'll show you why. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap it in bacon. So to keep it a little lighter, less calories, less fat, I use center cut bacon. And it really works out nice because it tastes just like bacon, no difference at all. The only difference is it has slightly less fat in it. So you'll see it's a little bit leaner of a bacon, but it has that beautiful smoky flavor. And when you wrap your meatloaf in it, the flavor from the bacon really comes through. So what we're going to do is we're going to make like a little weave pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a slice of bacon and put it across. And then from there I'm going to build the bacon pieces. So I put a piece of bacon on top. I'm going to fold this over. And I'm going to put my second piece of bacon right next to it. And then I'm going to lay it back down. I'm going to take the next piece of bacon, fold it over. And you just keep doing this until you've got your bacon pieces. So let's see how many I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. So that'll probably do it for that. And then I do it the other way. So I take a piece of bacon and I fold over every other piece and lay another piece of bacon down there. And I take these down, and then I do it to the other side. And you might be wondering why I'm doing this on plastic wrap. You're going to see that when I roll the meatloaf into the bacon pieces, it's going to help roll it a little bit better. So you just keep doing this until you've got 5 across and 5 down. Do this, let's see, one more time. There we go. And then one across. So a total of about 10 pieces of bacon. And that should do it. And then fold these down. So from here, all you want to do is get your meatloaf. Let me move this out of the way. Get your meatloaf. Put it right on your bacon there. And use the plastic wrap to wrap it real tight. Gives you a nice wrap there. Roll it all the way. Get out your baking dish. Make sure it's oven proof and spray it with non-stick spray. And just roll your meatloaf right in there. Pull out the plastic because that does not do well in the oven. And there you go. You've got your bacon wrapped meatloaf. There it is. Now let me just wash my hands. All you want to do from here is, your oven should be preheated by now. All you want to do is put foil on top and bake it in the oven covered for 30 minutes. Take out the aluminum foil or uncover it and bake it for another 15 minutes. And we are gonna do that. And so I will see you all in about 45 minutes when we're ready to take it out. All right, so the timer just went off for the meatloaf, the 30-minute timer. And I'm gonna check this to see where we are on it. And so I just wanna show, if you can see, it is not bubbling on the bottom. So that tells me that I need some more time covered before I uncover it. I know when to cover it because the bottom will be bubbling. And so if you don't have a clear baking dish like I do, what you could do is just pop up the aluminum foil and you'll see the bubbles on top. And just so you know, foil never gets hot, so as long as you're not touching the rack or the baking dish, you should be fine. So I'm gonna put this in for another 10 minutes covered, and then I'm gonna check to see if it's bubbling. Also, I just wanna let you know, this will serve 8 people. It's 2 pounds of meat. So it will serve 8 people, so maybe even 10, depending upon how thick the slices you are wanting to cut for it. Also, I wanted to mention that this recipe is not only on deliciouslight.com, but please follow us on the videos, and you can also catch us on Facebook as well. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. All right, so the buzzer just went off on the meatloaf, and it is very bubbly. So at this point, all I want to do is uncover it. And I'm going to move it to the top shelf and let it cook for about 10 to 15 more minutes until the bacon is nice and brown. So I'm just going to move that to the top shelf, cover, and I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and it'll all be done. From there, you take it out of the oven. Let it cool for about 10 minutes before serving it. If you try to cut it up when it's real hot and just out of the oven, sometimes it can fall apart. So let it cool for 10, 15 minutes, it'll be perfect. All right, 15 minutes is up on our meatloaf, and the bacon has browned. If yours is not quite brown, then just put it back in for another couple minutes. And we're gonna take this out, and I'll show you what it looks like. So there's a lot of liquid in here, so we're just going to let this cool. Probably not on that. We're going to let this cool for about 10-15 minutes, and then it'll be ready to be sliced up and served. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. And listen, if you have a recipe that you'd like lightened up, reduced calorie, reduced fat, that you really love, definitely write into us, comment on it, and we'll try to lighten it up for you. In the meantime, enjoy your dinner, and I hope you try this recipe. Have a good one. Thanks.